Hello and welcome to episode 1442 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It is Friday, August 15th. I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined this afternoon by Justin Mason. Justin, what up, dude?
Hey, it's been way too long. We haven't recorded
It's been a week.
all
It's been
week.
been a whole week. Look,
I was supposed to record with Jason on Sunday. He got stuck camping. Like he couldn't get out of the campsite or something like that.
that sounds like my personal hell because I really don't like camping, so I would be it'd be rough.
And then we haven't been able to connect. I've been sick all week.
Yeah, I know you had some sickness. You know, we're grinding through the dog days here too. Don't worry, we're gonna get you guys to your finish line. Get back on track with some weekly episodes in addition to the two-step. But let's get into some two-step pitchers today. We did have our day game in Wrigley. You know, if the Cubs are home on a Friday, it's going to be the one day game there. And they lost 3-2. Jack Sawinski went yard in the ninth. Oh, wow. Anyway, I don't think we're going to talk about a couple of interesting Cubs, actually, because they've got some challenging starts, Cade Horton and Jameson Taillon. We'll get to them in a moment. Let's start with Zac Gallen. I know it's a guy we've been talking about a few different times lately because he's been somebody that we have to put on this list now for most of the season. You know, Gallen coming in, I'm sure the very first episode that we did, where he had a two-step, I didn't even put him in because it's like, well, of course we're going to start him. But that is no longer the case. He is no longer a set it and forget it kind of guy, Zac Gallen. Came down a little bit last year. I wrote it off to World Series hangover. Certainly wasn't alone there. Seemed like a plausible explanation. He'll get back on track and be good. 5.31 ERA, 135 WHIP. Ooh, I like that. They're reverse of each other, 5.31, 135. Interesting there. But obviously those are wretched numbers for Gallen. 1.5 homer 9 doing most of the damage, Justin. Do you start him anywhere now? Not do you start him everywhere. Do you start him anywhere, Zac Gallen?
I mean, in 15s,
Are you sure?
I'm not 100% sure.
Cleveland and Cincy at home. Sorry, I'll mention the matchups this week.
He's at home for both of them, right? Which is a good place to pitch.
That helps.
He's going up against a Cleveland offense that you're not super afraid of, a Cincinnati offense that you're not super afraid of. So, and over the last 3 starts, he has pitched better, but there seemed to be after the trade deadline, it seemed like, hey, maybe they're going to change his pitch mix a little bit. Stop throwing the fastball as much. Start throwing his secondaries a little bit more. But then he's gone right back to the pitch mix that has not been working.
That's rough.
And and like I said, it's worked okay the last few starts. But you're also talking about the last 2 starts was home versus Colorado. You don't get credit for that one.
No.
And then at Texas, another good place to pitch. He only had 1 strikeout. This is 15s only, and it's really if you don't have any other options. Because right now in 15-team league, you may not have other options.
And that's fair too with Gallen, and we always point that out that we get it. Sometimes you just got to start a body, and you need some numbers too because you can't be too picky if you're chasing counting categories. You can't start a bunch of relievers. You got to get the volume Ks and all that. So I get that. What's interesting about Zac Gallen, Justin, is you can kind of track his trajectory to his stuff plus. From 2020 to 2022, when we first started having it. Of course, he obviously pitched in 2019 before that, but the bulk of his career's had it. Those first 3 years, he was at 106, 102, 105 stuff plus total for Gallen. Pretty good totals along with good location plus, hence good pitcher. It went from 105 to 98 in 2023, but he still had a 105 location plus, and that sustained him. But that's kind of the breaking point because he's maintained his location, 104 each of the last 2 years. Pretty good, but 92 and 88. So now 10 points below his stuff plus total from 2023, which was already below average. Again, this works just like the OPS plus and all that. 100 is average. Everything above is better. Everything below is worse. 98, 92, 88 the last 3 years. I don't think Gallen, outside of remaking himself, gets anywhere near top fantasy ace again as he goes into his age 30 season next year.
You have to wonder too, he dealt with elbow issues. Is this just the decline of that elbow and he,
right. And he just has to get a TJ and reset, and then maybe after that he could return.
But then you're talking about potentially
2 years.
Yeah, you're not drafting him next year, right?
Right. Then he's in his 30s. Yeah, and we're not saying he's hurt right now, but if it comes to that, if that's what he needs is a reset.
It's either a complete skills degradation or he's hurt. Like
right.
it's one or the other.
It has to be one of those two.
And you don't want to deal with either, right?
No, I don't want somebody that's continuing to decline. Because 93 isn't soft, but now you start trickling down a little bit more in the velocity, then all of a sudden Zac Gallen's throwing meatballs up there with nothing behind it, and it can get really dicey. And he's a name guy, so he's going to hold still some value even next year. Even with this rancid year, I think he'll hold some name value, and I'm not sure I'm seeing anything that's going to keep me in on him.
Good question, because I was just telling you right before we hit record, I'm actually in my first draft of the year.
Right, you're 3.
My 3-sport draft that we have to have done before the start of football, because football is the sport. So I wonder if Gallen has gone. He was not someone I've been considering. Right. So
not someone you're outwardly seeking out necessarily.
No, and I went hard on baseball. No, we are currently in the 33rd round. Gallen has not gone. The most recent 3 pitchers just went in the 33rd round were Ranger Suarez, Tanner Bybee, and Luis Castillo, all who should be going above him.
They all need to be going ahead of him. That checks out to me with Gallen. We've had our pitcher list, the Gallen gals. I've been a Gallen gal in the past, but I'm out. I was out this year, and I'm out. I wasn't hard out this year. I don't want to be like, I saw this coming. Never mind. I shouldn't say I was out. Developed being out this year. I didn't get him anywhere, but I was like, hangover, jump back in, it's fine. But I think I'm out until I see something different now. I'm not just going to buy in on the name value with Zac Gallen. All right, let's go to Jacob Lopez here. Pitching for the Athletics. Now, the first thing that you're going to start to think about with them is the park. And we've been concerned about the park all year. However, Justin, it never came to fruition, at least for the bulk of the summer. It is, however, turning late. You said that it's exploding in temperature there lately. He's going to be on the road for 2, but just so we know for when the Athletics get back home, is the weather starting to play how you thought it was going to play, 2-3 months ago when you thought real summer was going to come?
Yeah, it's starting to get there. It's hot in my office right now. We're recording at 2:15 in the afternoon right now, and I'm already sweating. And so, we're supposed to hit 100 this week. And for those who don't know, I'm not in Sacramento. Sacramento's hotter. Sacramento's way worse than where I'm at, kind of closer to the coast. So I expect the rest of the way that park to just be an absolute nightmare in terms of the heat. That being said, Lopez has actually been better at home this year.
Oh, that's interesting. So maybe the double roadie isn't even helping him. He's going to Minnesota and to Seattle for Lopez.
He has a 2.64 home ERA and a 4.02 road ERA. He got
murdered. He got murdered at Toronto. How much of it is the Toronto start versus consistent failures?
And he got beat up at Texas.
Okay, so two. In fact, I think we might have talked about this on a previous 2 start where we identified that, yes, he did have the big home road split, but it was 2 really bad ones on the road, which they count, and that matters and everything, but it isn't persistent struggles on the road. I think I like him this week in 15s, 12s, and maybe even some 10s. He's coming off of, he's in the midst of, what is this now? I can't do the math in my head. I'm an idiot. 24 scoreless. With 28 strikeouts.
I got asked about this in my chat on Monday, and one of the things I said was this is kind of who Jacob Lopez is, and I think is going to be he is the guy when his mechanics are clean and he is hitting the zone, he is going to blow people away. He's going to put up scoreless outings, get a lot of strikeouts, but we can't forget he did this earlier in the season. He had a 4-game stretch where he allowed only 2 earned runs and was striking out everybody. And then he went through a horrendous stretch. That horrendous stretch will come again. It's just going to be hard to know when. And so I think you're rolling with Jacob Lopez right now, knowing that, hey, the horrendous stretch may come. You're hoping it doesn't. But I think the upside, especially with the strikeout, it's not like we're talking about a guy who's going to go out there and have a 19% strikeout rate. This is Jacob Lopez has super high upside. So you're rolling with him, but it is kind of scary.
You know what's interesting is he doesn't throw hard. Jacob Lopez throws 90-91 from the left side, but has a 29% K rate. 12% swinging strike rate says maybe he's not quite that good, but in the minors had great swinging strike rates, great strikeout rates. But I think because he throws so softly, his stuff plus numbers, he's got a 91. So he's got a worse combo here than Zac Gallen when you're looking at the stuff plus and location plus. And I know that these aren't magic bullet stats, but it's interesting how he's surviving with this. Lopez is, whereas you take somebody like Gallen, basically the same numbers, a little bit worse. The stuff plus, and I'm sure each point starts to mean more the lower you dip. But even better location, and he's a lot worse. I guess I'm just trying to underscore your point about Lopez does have some risk to him, but I don't know how you get away from somebody with 24 scoreless who's pitching as well as he is. Yeah, so I think you just kind of have to take the risk that comes with it. I
think. Like until he hits that speed bump, but just know that is possible. It is. Yep. Yeah, especially if you're in like a head-to-head playoff situation coming up soon. Like,
oh, I'm glad you brought that up. You folks listening, you need to start making a lot more decisions based on your standings, things that we cannot know. It can run completely counter to what we're telling you, because first off, we're not telling you like what you have to do. We're giving advice, and it's always dependent on your team and your situation and everything. But I think even as we get further here down the stretch, where we're actually at the real quarter pole, not when people say it a quarter of the way into the season, always drives me nuts. It's when there's a quarter left, but. Yeah, what you're chasing, if you're chasing volume stats, you go for more two-star guys that can pile up Ks and maybe sneak a dub. You're going for rates, you're being very careful about matchups and all that sort of stuff. You're in a head-to-head, earlier week, you're maybe a little bit more daring. Later week, you got to maybe protect a little bit. So let your situation drive the bus completely down the stretch here. Again, even if it runs counter to what we're saying about somebody. Let's go to the Red Sox. It's the same Dustin May, Justin. Baltimore and at the Yankees. Now, Baltimore, not particularly scary. I mean, they still got some decent offensive pieces. That's not what busted the team this year. So they're the same scary that they've been. They can get you, but you don't run and hide from them. The Yankees, even with Judge back, obviously not as scary. Both New York teams obviously in shambles right now. Does that give you any confidence with Dustin May? And do you think that Boston can tweak anything, and maybe it's an off-season thing? I didn't expect a magic fix, by the way. I'm just saying I'm not seeing any difference yet. Where do you stand with Dustin May as a Red Sox now?
I'm kind of looking at it right now just because they did at first, like, it seemed like, they're kind of making him throw the cutter more. Well, I guess he didn't really in the last start. In the first start, he was throwing that cutter more, and
right. It's been such a small sample, though, too, that it's hard to really...
It's only 2 starts.
Say anything yet.
And, like, you never know, like, matchup space. Like, maybe it was a plan of attack versus Kansas City. Didn't work great. And then went right back to kind of what he was before. He was great in that start against Houston.
The Houston start was amazing. And that's the thing with May, though. When I say he's still the same guy, it's like, wretched start, great start. Who you're going to get. And he had the bad start against the team that's a little bit more easy to get in KC, and he dominated the great team on the road that you would never start.
Yeah, exactly. So you probably missed the bad start, or you probably missed the good start and ate the bad one. So
right. Do you take a shot here? Baltimore?
Not against the Yankees.
Okay.
I think if it was Baltimore and anybody else, or like, a mediocre team, I think I would. But you're going to New York. I know New York hasn't been as strong offensively recently, but like that's still a really good offense. So
in New York too, like you said, that's the scary part. All right, let's hit the Cubs then. Dustin May, I'm not really trying to start him anywhere. Again, 15s, you might be backed into the corner a little bit. You're chasing. There is some win potential at least. I get it, and Godspeed to you, but I'm not trying to start him anywhere. I just don't believe yet. All right, let's go to the Cubs. They got a double dip, young and old, Cade Horton, Jameson Taillon, Milwaukee, and then to the Angels. And we've been talking about the Angels a lot this year. They can clip you with the homers. So, 2 tough matchups here. One of the hottest team in baseball with Milwaukee coming to visit, and then a trip out west to the Angels. Let's start with Cade Horton, the young buck. How do we feel about him?
I just don't know how you don't use him. Like, the results are so good. I mean, he has only given up 1 earned run. It was in his last start since July 9th.
And he dominated, like, in Toronto. It was a great start. I watched the Baltimore one as well. I didn't get to see the Cincy one. That was fantastic. Yeah, he's been dialed. And honestly, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The underlying numbers say he's going to regress. But, like, regress to what? Like, maybe he's a 3-7 pitcher rest of the way, but like that's still a really good pitcher.
And maybe he's developing too, right, Justin? Like as he's going, Cade Horton could be getting better.
The Cubs are good. Like they're going to give him run support. Like they're in the middle of a wild card race. Like I don't know how you're not using him in every format, honestly, at this point.
It'd be really, really hard. And I know that like a young guy like this could blow up on somebody, and we could see somebody, you know, in our comments or in our tweets like, oh my God, I was in this head-to-head thing and I had Cade Horton going and he double dipped me. And it's like, I get it. There is risk, of course. But I don't see in any format how you've got enough talent, unless you just built the super rotation, in which case, hats off to you. You're probably not worried about pitching this year. But I just don't see where you're sitting, Cade Horton. I can't do it. I got to roll with him. I got him in one league that matters for me, so I'm definitely rolling him out there. Jameson Taillon now, a little bit of a different story. He's been off the IL, right? He had his first start off the IL last week, I think. The win potential's there. What else is there? No, this is him coming off the IL, excuse me. So this is the return off the IL, again, Milwaukee and at the Angels. Anything there for J-Mo off the IL, or is it too scary?
I mean, before he hit that like really bad stretch before hitting the IL, Taillon was actually pitching really, really well. So he got beat up against the Cardinals and against the Brewers before going on the IL after the final start in June at Houston. But prior to that, Jameson Taillon had a 3.48 ERA and 82 2/3 with 65 strikeouts. It's not a ton of strikeouts, and he did have a bit of a homer problem, but he was very effective. I don't like guys coming off the IL, and
does it help?
I don't love the matchups.
Before you say that, though, well, in addition to you saying that, which I agree, be careful off the IL, are you encouraged by 3 rehab starts that built his pitch count back up to 84 last time out for J-Mo?
I am encouraged.
That gives me a little bit more confidence to start him as opposed to no rehab or
15 team only. Like, would you rather start Taillon or Gallen here?
Taillon by miles.
I think it's closer for me, but I do think I'm towards Taillon.
Okay. So yeah, that's where we're at. 15s for sure for me. 12s, I could consider it if you're chasing wins. Gavin Williams, my boy. Look, notice I haven't been pounding my chest about his recent run. First off, I don't want to get burned and have him pull the rug on me in like the rest of the season, because his numbers they're fine. But it's the 3.38 ERA where you're like, oh, hey, cool. But then it's a 1.31 whip. And that's been the same case during this run here. So while I am excited and happy because I still love Gavin Williams, I'm not coming on here busting your balls all the time saying like, see, I told you about him, because no, I didn't. He's been very frustrating to the point where the second you start to trust him, I feel like he tugs the rug and tries to pull it out from under you. Tough start last time against Miami, which, hey, they can get you, so I don't even feel like the worst about that, even though it was at home and he had been rolling. But where do you go with Gavin Williams right now? I think he's one of these that's really going to play specifically to standings because he is a whip killer. There is some win upside. The Cleveland Guardians are actually playing kind of frisky baseball, interestingly enough. Going to Arizona and to Texas. Gavin Williams, how do you feel?
I mean, the Guardians have been one of the best teams since the trade deadline.
What the hell's going on with that?
They sell pieces and all of a sudden they start winning. It's what the Guardians do every year. Like they just somehow figure this stuff out. And along with that, like your boy, Gavin Williams, has been fantastic since the break.
He has.
So far since the break, Gavin Williams has thrown 30.2 innings over 5 starts, 32 strikeouts, a 2.35 ERA. Yeah, the underlying ERA indicators are saying he's going to regress. But again, this is another regress to what?
Mm-hmm.
And you have that upside. We're talking 32 strikeouts in virtually 31 innings. Like, you're getting over a strikeout an inning. I don't believe in Gavin Williams long term, but this is a Jacob Lopez situation where you are just riding with it in all formats until you hit the speed bump.
I'm inclined to be, similarly bullish where I am. Well, again, the speed bump was last time out, 3 innings, 4 runs against Miami. It doesn't ruin your season. And ideally, if that's the speed bump, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Just spare me the 7 bomb, right? Like, that's what I'm trying to avoid down the stretch from anybody. That's the speed
bump I'm worried about, right?
That's the one that stings you.
That is the, playoffs, ender, right? Or but Gavin Williams has it in the profile, right? Like we know, and like you said, we just saw it in last start. Like that was the first speed bump but like I don't know how you can not start someone who can get 11 strikeouts in 6 innings. Like it's
really hard. It's really hard to move off of a guy like him with his talent because the upside is rich.
Unless the standings, right? The standings dictate it, right? You don't need strikeouts. You're doing fine strikeouts, or you're so buried in strikeouts, and
that he won't help. Yeah,
that he won't help, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have whip issues, or
if your whip is tight, and you have trailers that can catch you. Gavin Williams is a very tough start. So, yeah, standings-wise, obviously I can see moving off of it.
His whip since the break is .95.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm stunned by that. That's awesome. That's great. I hope I can believe in that. Again, I love Gavin Williams.
I don't believe in it, but...
Well, I imagine then that the walk rate is down, right?
It's at 8%.
It would have to be. And, that being his good end, though, does speak volumes about who Gavin Williams is, because 8% isn't that good, folks. That's about league.
I mean, he legit pretty much he had a no-hitter, like, right? Like he going into that last at bat, like he had a no-hitter going,
and he got
by
one of the greatest players in the game, Juan Soto,
of all time.
And no shade in that at all. So yeah, we're rolling with Gavin Williams. LOL at the 2 Rockies starting, of course, no shot. Yoendrys Gómez. I just want to say a little something about Yoendrys Gómez for the White Sox. Decent pitcher, talented arm. One of these guys that's like, he kind of got 40-man squeeze. I think he comes from the Yankees. Actually, he might have stopped off somewhere else even before getting here. Let me see what his history is. I haven't made an OOTP game reference.
He was with the Dodgers for a minute.
Okay. I haven't made an OOTP game reference in a while, but Yoendrys Gómez, just because of the way his status was, the Yankees would always waive him early in a sim last year, and I'd pick him up, and a few times I turned him into an absolute stud. So I have some Yoendrys Gómez love. Like you said, he did stop over with the Dodgers. It didn't go well. They chopped him off their roster. The White Sox have him now. He's in the majors. I do think there is some arm talent here, but he walks the yard, and that's why it is so dicey with him. So I'm not going to start him at Atlanta or home to Minnesota, but if he can keep the walks in check for a few starts, I could see a little something down the stretch. So I put his name on a list. Like, he looked good against my Tigers. 5 innings, a 1-run ball with 1 walk. I'm definitely influenced by that. It was literally 3 days ago. So you just want to put a little note on Yoendrys Gómez, not to start him, but maybe just keep tabs, because I do think he's a really talented arm. Do you want to start Yoendrys Gómez anywhere?
I don't know. Before this start, which was his first start of the season, by the way.
Yep.
He had been a reliever, only throwing inning increments. Like, he threw a 3-inning, bits earlier in April, but other than that, like, he's been 1 inning pretty much every time out. But then they once the White Sox got him, they put him down into the minors and stretched him out. He went 5 last time. Now, he needed to be really efficient to go 5.
Yeah, he was dealing, though.
I have a hard time believing he's going to be able to be that efficient, though the matchups aren't bad.
I fully agree with that. Agree with that.
For me, it's the win potential is really low because he's on the White Sox to begin with, and I don't know that he can go 5.
Right.
And so, I don't know that I really trust the control at all. No, yeah, this is a no-go for me.
Yeah, like, I think that's fair. Again,
AL only. Like this.
I just wanted people to be aware of him. Yeah, AL only could be an interesting pickup. He could burn you though, right? You pick him up
really easily.
Because any team, any port in a storm, as Jeff Erickson likes to say, but he can still absolutely destroy you too. So let's just be very, very careful out there for Yoendrys Gómez. Man, this guy can burn you too, and way more than you would think. Jack Flaherty has grown frustrating to watch as a Tigers fan, and mainly because, I'll give him a compliment when I say that, he's remarkably talented, and that's obvious when you watch him how good he is. But he has these blips, he just up and down, inning to inning, batter to batter, and I'm like, 3 no-hit innings, 5-run inning, 2 more no-hit innings. Like, who are you? And it's all the time, Justin. And you know what it always comes back to? The freaking homer, dude. And that's why I always get bugged out about homers. If everyone gives you a hard time about your contact rate stuff, I could take similar heat on home run rates for pitchers, because home runs just terrify me. Yeah. It's the quickest way to score multiple runs. It's a guaranteed run, et cetera, et cetera. So that's been the issue with Flaherty. I think you're going to end up saying something similar to where I'm at, which is I don't know how to get away from him because it's 2 at home for a talented guy on a first-place team. What are you going to do? Not start him? But what do you think about Jack Flaherty?
I think in a 10, you're not starting him.
That's fair. I can get behind that.
Houston leading it off.
Yeah.
And he was on this list last week, right? And so and lost the 2-step and got pushed to this week.
Yep.
So like if that happens again and you have to eat the Houston start and you don't even get the Kansas City start, then you're going to be really annoyed. So in a 10 team, I'm totally fine skipping this. I'm not dropping him because I think the talent is too good for Jack Flaherty. But I think 12 and 15 is going to be really, really hard to find someone better unless your team is just absolutely stacked.
Yeah, I co-sign all of that.
And so, yeah, I think 12 and 15 for sure. 10s, I think you might be able to find better options here.
That makes a lot of sense with Jack Flaherty. Be careful out there, folks. Talented arm. Don't cut him. Keep him, but don't always start him everywhere. Spencer Arrighetti might be facing Jack Flaherty in that game. He's going to Detroit and to Baltimore. He's off the IL. He has pitched, but he's obviously still working his way back. Have you regained your confidence with Arrighetti, or where is your confidence with him? I shouldn't imply that you used to love him or anything. Where are you at with Arrighetti?
I love the stuff, but he can't control it at all. Like it's just
5 walks last time.
Like, and that is who Spencer Arrighetti is. Like he single-handedly pushed my team last year in labor into first place, and then single-handedly took it out of first and second place
with that
third.
Monstrously bad start late in the season, right?
Yeah, it was, and that's what you get for Arrighetti. This is a Hail Mary play, by all definition. Like you could.
This is desperate heave.
Yeah, you could get a 6-inning gem where he strikes out 9 or 10, or you could get what we saw last time, which is 3 2/3, 11 hits, 5 earned runs. It adds extra walks on. Like it could go disastrously wrong here, and so 15's only really is a Hail Mary where your ratios are okay. Like if you are win seeking and strikeout seeking, Arrighetti is yes. If your ratios are in any sort of peril, then no.
Yes, whether they're either okay or you don't care about them.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything that you could lose points from them, Arrighetti can't be your guy. Maybe one of these guys could be. They're pretty good ratio guys when they're on. The problem is when they're off, they end up giving up 7 hits in like 2 innings or something. It's Wacha and Lugo, the old Spider-Man meme. They're in KC. Both of them are going to host Texas and then come visit I shouldn't say come as if I live in Detroit, but then go visit my Tigers in Detroit. Let's start with Wacha. How you feeling about him these days?
I mean, Wacha is it's Chris Davis. Wacha is the Chris Davis of pitchers, right? Like for
Chris
years.
with a K?
Yeah, Chris with a K, right? You could bank 247 every year with 30 home runs,
that was
right?
Amazing.
And every year people are like, well, this is the year Chris Davis falls off, or this is like, you can't project batting average, and you can't. I'm not saying they were wrong, but with Chris Davis, you can. Michael Wacha has a 3.35 ERA. Last year, it was a 3.35 ERA. The year before, it was a 3.22 ERA. The year before that, it was a 3.32 ERA. Like, he literally just does the exact same thing. It's not a lot of strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mediocre whip. But, like, he just gives you good ERAs, right? Like, you mix him with, like, a Bailey Ober, and you're like, hey, look, I got the semblance of one really good pitcher here. Between Bailey Ober and Michael Wacha, because Wacha will help the ERA, Ober helps the whip, and you're fine. You just roll him out. Like I just roll Wacha out. Like I don't care. Like he's not a guy that's going to help you in strikeouts, but he'll be in line for win because he's going to go deep enough more often than not.
Yeah,
and he's just going to deliver you solid ratios.
He's just a good major league pitcher, and it can get boring, and it's not the flashiest thing in your shallower leagues. And with those Ks, maybe you aren't starting him Wacha in a 10 or a 12, maybe. But 15s, it's a staple. I'm not even sure that it's a question. No. He hasn't allowed more.
Honestly, I think 12s he's a staple. Like
probably because pitching's been so rough.
Unless you really need strikeouts, he does not deliver strikeouts. So unless you really need strikeouts,
but he's won 3 straight too, which is cool.
Yeah. Because he just goes deep enough every single time, and he doesn't give up a lot of runs.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, you can pretty much bank on him for like 5 2/3 and 1 earned run every single outing.
Now Lugo is somewhat similar, except that last year he had like the dream season. Everything came together, but as we talked about a lot in late season and in the off season, the market was hot on that. Nobody I mean, I'm sure there was an individual or two, but the market did not overrate Lugo's season. We all saw the writing on the wall. He suppressed a bunch of homers, probably due to some good luck as opposed to some good pitching. And the homer run rate would regress, and he'd probably go back to being a mid to upper threes ERA pitcher, which guess what? From 3 to 377 this year. Whip up from 109 to 124. He's kind of back to the guy he was the 3 years before this. And similar to Wacha, you just kind of set your watch to it. And yeah, you'll get a bomb every once in a while, but for the most part, you just start him. Now, he is coming off 2 duds. Does that give you any pause here? Back-to-back 4-inning duds, 7 and 6 earned for Lugo. Does that give you any pause with Texas and at Detroit on the docket here?
Yeah, you want to know the crazy thing? Before the month of August started, Seth Lugo had a 3.03 ERA. He was doing what he did last year, and he's just run into this 3-game stretch where he can't go 5, and he's getting beat up in the last 2. So I'm not super worried about Lugo. I think he'll be fine. I think he's very Wacha-ish, like you said. And if you need strikeouts, you may want to look a different direction, but I'm not overly worried about this set of matchups. I mean, Detroit's good, but they're not like, well, no, they are really good. But I think I'm still rolling. You guys haven't best right now. You haven't playing the best, but like you can still get got by Detroit, Torkelson and Green, Keith, Carp. Yeah, like it's still a good lineup, but I think I'm still rolling with Wacha.
Yeah, me too.
I'm probably rolling with Lugo where I'm rolling with Wacha, which is in most 15 or in all 15s, most 12s, and then some 10s. Some 10s. I don't have other options, but probably 10s you might be able to find better matchups.
Do you know who Victor Mederos is?
I don't. Who's Victor Mederos?
Victor Mederos is an Angels prospect of sorts. Well, maybe like an org level prospect, meaning he's not like a stud. He has pitched in parts of each of the last 3 seasons, 3 innings in 2023, 5 in 2024, and 8 so far this year. They haven't gone well, but he was penciled in for the 2-step. I don't know that we need to spend a whole lot of time on Victor Mederos. I just wanted to alert you that he is currently penciled in for a 2-step for them. And did he rank on the list? He was a part of the depth arms chart on the Angels prospect list, which means that he didn't make the top 42 list that they had.
Yeah, he has so far this season, obviously only 8 innings in the majors. Sure, he has a 0.0% K- BB because he has a 20% walk rate. And yes, I don't expect him to have a 20% walk rate the entire time, but like this is a guy who struggles with control, and I have zero interest here. He's a 2-pitch guy. He should be a reliever.
Yeah, I'm not even sure he gets 2 full starts there.
Yeah.
Brandon Woodruff I wanted to talk about. He's been awesome. I don't think people are sitting him. But Justin, he's returning from injury.
Yep.
Do you worry about the inevitable other shoe dropping on a bad start somewhere?
Sure.
And if so, do you do anything about it, or you just have to eat it? Like, we know that there's almost no chance he gets through the rest of the year unscathed. That would be like 15 starts at like peak Brandon Wood.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily expect that from somebody fully healthy, let alone somebody coming off of the injury he is, running a crazy hot BABIP and a really bad home run rate, by the way. He's at 1.6. So I think we both believe that Brandon Woodruff will have at least one real dud, which for me, again, is like 5 earned or more at some point. But can you do anything about it? Can you okay, because he got at the Cubs and home to San Francisco last week.
Like, do you know what his strand rate is right now?
Got to be 100%.
It is 100%. It is exactly 100%.
I knew it.
He has stranded every single runner that's gone on base, which is insane. Like,
crazy.
This is not going to keep up. He will regress. But like, what do you do? Like, how do you, like, if you get burnt by it, you get burnt by it. But like, you've gotten all this goodness and you want to get more. And we say this all the time at the end of the season. Sometimes the regression comes next year.
True. Like, exactly. He could outrun it till the end of the year and then, you know, have some issues.
My bigger concern with Brandon Woodruff is if the Brewers say, hey, we're going to start limiting you because we've got an 8.5 game lead in this division.
They already did it.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I didn't see it. So
it was smart, though. No, like announcement that like Brandon Woodruff isn't going to pitch. They did it smartly though.
When they got 4 innings.
Yeah, when they got that big lead, They said, okay, we're up 6-0. It's the Pirates. Like, let's just be real about where we're at. We're up 6-0 through 4 on the Pirates. We're gonna win this game. Now they did give up 3 in the top of the 5th, so they probably Pat Murphy's stomach probably dropped a little bit. Like, oh shit, I shouldn't have taken him out. And then they gave up 2 in the 6th. So then all of a sudden it was 6-4, or 6-5 rather. Sick math ability. But then they scored 6 more to make it 12-5. So they already tried to. But to counter that, I would say. I don't even want to say counter it because I think they could do it. I think they could manage Brandon Woodruff's inning, and it would be smart. But he did go 6+ for 4 straight before this. So I think they might just use pockets of when to stop him, not do 4 innings the rest of the way or anything like that.
I think they're just going to take their opportunities like they did. Like you said, they were up big, and they went, hey, we've got a good enough bullpen. We can close this game out at you. Let's limit your innings. Make sure you're good for the playoffs because they need him in the playoffs.
Right. He's a huge piece if he can be the second part to Peralta. He and Peralta can be the top 2, take a little pressure off Miz, who might even just be a 2-inning relief ace, to be honest. The tough part about that is, of course, it was a 6-0 lead. It looked like a free win. I understand that from a fantasy perspective. That's just part of drafting or picking up a injured guy like this. That's part of the profile that you bought. You can be bummed about it. I'm not saying that you can't be like, oh, darn, that would have been an easy win. But it is part of what you get when you draft guys like that. Yeah. All right, David Peterson. Where are we at on him as far as trustworthiness? Now, he's going to get at Washington and at Atlanta, so we're not really worried about the matchups. David Peterson's been pretty good this year, and I know I've had a few people, just some anecdotal stuff that have been like, dude has saved me this year. Early on, when I needed somebody, David Peterson was there putting up innings. He now has a career-high $136 on the innings, 3.30 ERA, 128 whip, so a little hot on the whip. Ks aren't hot, 117 in those 136 innings, but a damn fine season. I think he's a 15-team lock. Is he a 12-team lock, David Peterson?
Probably just because of how well he's pitched. I will caution people, over the last 2 starts, 9 innings and a third in total, 10 earned runs.
Brutal last time out, and 5 walks.
Yeah, 5 walks. And the underlying numbers have been screaming regression the entire season. Like he's been one of my highest talked about guys, David Peterson has, in terms of, hey, he is getting extremely lucky. But at some point, you just kind of got to roll with it. Like I said for other guys, I don't think he's nearly as talented as a Brandon Woodruff or a Jacob Lopez.
I thought you were saying me.
I mean, I think he's about as talented as you, but it's fair. Close.
I've regressed.
I do think the regression is starting to poke up right now, and
agree.
I can actually understand in a 12. I think 15. What else are you going to do?
You don't. If you have a rotation that you know who does. Haven't brought this guy up in a long time either. Greg.
Oh, Greg. Yeah, of course.
He freaking does. He's 5th in the main right now.
Good for him, dude.
After the year he had last year, he's 5th in the main. And if he rallies, and I'm going to gas him up a little bit here because I know he's bugging in the dog days here, micromanaging everything. He's having another amazing season. And if he cashes in his other main, he will have – so he's going to obviously do well in the one that's 5th. But if he cashes in the other one, he will have a 6 of 12 main cash rate, 50%.
That's amazing.
Even if he doesn't, it's 5 of 12, which is still brilliant. Anyway, I got to gas my boy up. He rules. But he probably has a rotation. So there every once in a while, somebody has a rotation where they could afford to sit Peterson in a 15. Good for you. Okay, you drafted a perfect rotation. Most people can't. Yeah. 12s, I think he's on the fence. And 10s, I think you need to be a little careful because you talked about the regression always looming. And now it's coming in the form of those walks. I mentioned 5 the last game against Atlanta. Justin, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of his last 12, or 9 of his last 10 with 2 walks or more.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, 8 of 10, pardon me, 8 of 10 with at least 2 walks. 2 walks in a game is a lot, folks, if you're only throwing 5, 6 innings. Yeah. So that is kind of a decent number there. And there's a lot of 3s. 3, 3, 3. So that's 3, 5 different times, 2 times, and then the 5 last time out. So again, I don't think you can do anything in a 15 because I just doubt you have enough good pitching to not just push through it. But everywhere else, I think you got to be cautious with David Peterson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go to Nestor Cortes, who's now out in San Diego. Justin, I had such a boomer moment the other day, and I did my classic, raging at it, thinking that I was fully in the right, only to realize I was wrong. First time ever, getting this far.
Never.
44 years in, first time being wrong, not too bad. But I was absolutely incensed. Do you know why, Justin? Do you know what mistake I made with Nestor Cortes?
Did you say it was on Milwaukee?
I fucking did, dude. I'm looking through the Milwaukee roster, and I'm clicking on things, and I'm pressing the mouse harder as if that's going to do anything. So I'm having a total little hissy fit in here, being a little crybaby ass, until I realized that he's on the Padres, you stone cold moron. So I collected myself, acted like I never overreacted in the first place, and moseyed on over to the Padres page and got my Nestor Cortes information. But he's dialed up for a two-step. Giants, Dodgers, both at home. The ugliness is on the end. The treats at the beginning. Nestor Cortes a little up and down. The Padres rule. A lot of factors here. I'm starting him.
Yeah, he has not. This is only his fourth start of the season, right?
Right.
Because he got hurt and then he got traded. Since he's made 2 starts with San Diego since the trade.
Don't remind me of the last start when he only threw 4 2/3.
He's only thrown 4 2/3 both times, and that is my big concern. Is
because they have a super pen.
Yeah, you're talking about a team that, like, they don't need him to go 5.
Nope.
But you need him to go 5 to qualify for a win.
I know, Justin.
The stuff looked good last time out against my Giants, but even only facing 20 batters and 21 batters the last 2 starts, he hadn't gone 5. And so I have a really hard time starting him outside of 15s.
I think so, too. And when I said I was starting him, it was 15s in fairness. But I do think outside of that, it is a tough sell. I will say, if you're chasing ratios, you can, because I think he'll give you a good 4 innings. Maybe you get the 5. But yeah, it is really hard. It's really hard.
There's a lot of risk though too, because like not going that deep, you have to walk really thin.
Exactly. One bad inning.
Those ratios. Yeah, exactly. Like all it takes
one bad pocket. One bad like 4-batter pocket where it goes walk, hit. Yeah. And if you're only going 4,
like he had a 150 whip on his last start, even though he was like really good.
Now I'm going to say no outside of 15s for Cortes. I'm going to agree with you.
I think it's no outside of 15s.
All right, let's go to my boy Matthew Liberatore. And, I talked about him a lot this year, and he had that breakout early on. I was like, hey, this is going well, but, like, let's still be nervous because he's not a fully formed stud all of a sudden. But all in all, I think you got to be pretty happy with the year. 4.08 ERA, 129 whip, pretty solid step forward into being kind of like a back-end innings eater, which is all I was really hoping for him once I kind of gave up on the idea that he could become a stud, because I've, like I said, been a long-time fan of him as a prospect. But Liberatore has not been the guy that he was early on, because if you look at the trajectory of those numbers, he went from kind of starting everywhere all the time to kind of rough lately. Liberatore has not gone 5 in 5 straight. Yeah. Can you start him anywhere right now, Matthew Liberatore? He gets at Miami and at Tampa Bay. Neither of those are easy anymore.
When he looked like a stud earlier on in the season, his velocity was up, 95 miles an hour.
Yep.
And pretty much since the middle of May, it has dropped down to 93, 94. And that's a big difference because the secondary stuff does not play up well without that velocity.
Isn't it crazy how that one
or 2,
1.5,
it's massive. It really is massive.
It's life-changing. And he was a stud.
Yeah, and like his last one, he was at 93.6, which is it's okay. But the one before that, he was at 92.
Yeesh.
So, like, I don't think it's going to get better here at the end of the season.
Not in the dog days.
No.
He's probably learning a lot about his body. Sorry to cut you off there. He's probably learning a lot about his body going through his first full season as a starter, and hopefully it makes him stronger for next year. But I agree. I think he's going to be a tough start. Would you get ahead of this and, like, cut him anywhere and just say, I don't need this the rest of the way. Let him be somebody else's headache. Almost put him out there as maybe sort of a ticking time bomb. Because if somebody sees him out there, like, he's going to look like an amazing player in a 15-teamer if you cut him. And they spend 35 fab on him and they only have 60 left. Again, that's a very niche situation. Let's just talk about the merits. Don't worry about the fab thing. Would you cut Liberatore?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
There's no reson to roster him. Like
I
you said,
think so either.
He has not gone 5 innings since July 5th.
Yeah.
That
for me, like, what are you starting then? He was never a K guy to begin with. Yeah. Like last year and I'm not comparing these two 1-to-1 in any way. In fact, I'm showing how different they are. But last year when Garrett Crochet was doing those tiny innings all throughout the second half, you're like, you could at least justify it because he was giving you good ratios in Ks. So if you didn't need wins, you could take the good 4 innings with 6 Ks and a great whip. Liberatore brings nothing for 4 innings.
He's averaging 2 strikeouts a start for the last 4 starts.
That's a nightmare. All right, let's keep going here. Jack Leiter is going to go to KC and host Cleveland. How have you taken in the young righty's season? You know, big time prospect. Some of the sheen is definitely worn off, but he's put together a pretty decent season. He also kind of going through his first full season as a starter in the majors. 3.94 ERA, 134 WHIP. He's had ups and downs, all throughout the year. Hasn't given up more than 2 earned in quite some time. Do you find anything for Jack Leiter at KC, home to Cleveland?
I mean, I love his stuff. He just can't control it. I think Jack Leiter's future is going to be as a really interesting late inning guy, as opposed to a starter.
I can see that.
I think he would be a really, really interesting closer, especially on a team that has a good amount of starting pitching and no closer.
Yes.
And I'm honestly a little surprised they haven't made that shift, but I think they just want to give him an opportunity to see where he's at.
The playoffs and then put him in that spot.
Be a 2-inning guy in the playoffs.
Yes.
Like I really think that is, I think that Jack Leiter's future. So I'm not starting him unless I just need strikeouts. And
you cutting him?
Probably.
I'm a little bit more open to holding him just because, first off, at least he's hit 5 recently in 3 of his last 5. And in the 2 where he didn't, the walks got him, but the earned runs didn't.
No, yeah, I take that back. I'm not cutting him. Not in 15.
I would keep the talent in 15s. Yeah.
In a 10 or a 12, I can cut him for sure.
That's
but
fine.
In 15, I'm not.
He and Leiter and Liberatore are probably on waiver wires in 10s and 12s already. So, yeah, you can definitely do that. All right, last guy, swerving Jake Irvin. He ain't been swerving all that much this year. Is he doing anything for you with the Mets? Catching him at the right time, but then he has to go to Philly. At least it's on the back end. I don't know. It's another one of these soft tossers, no Ks, no real juice. But is there anything there? He does have 8 wins. Got to give Jake Irvin some love on that. Anything for Jake Irvin?
No.
Damn it. I thought I might have sold you with the 8 wins, but I understand, and I agree with you. I would not start him either.
Yeah.
All right, so it's a pretty light board out there. And I will tell you that, obviously we don't talk about the studs. I didn't skip many studs. There just aren't that many appealing 2 starts next week. Let me go through some of the studs, just rattling them off, like Strider. I know he's been up and down, but obviously you have to start him. Trevor Rogers got stud status, so we didn't ask about him. Let's see here. Austin Gomber, he's a stud. You just kind of set it and forget it with him because he's so awesome. Let's see here. Yamamoto going to Colorado, hosting San Diego. Obviously, you're starting him. Yuri Perez, Freddie Peralta, Skeens, Gilbert, Ray. And that's it. It's not that deep of a 2-start board next week. So be looking for your sneaky little 1-steps if you can get them out there. Justin, how your team's doing? What are you chasing down the stretch here, especially as football starts to try to commandeer our time? Pun intended, since you're a Commanders fan. That's pretty good.
Well done. My teams are doing okay. I've got, a couple teams in first, a couple teams competing for first. Like, I'll tell you right now, my auction championship right now is I'm in 4th place. However, the last 3 days before that, I was in 1st place. Currently, I have 100 points in 4th place. First place, there are 2 teams tied at 101. Literally, and the top 6 teams are all still in this.
That's going to be a hell of a... What league is that again? I'm sorry?
It's a $1,600 auction championship.
That's... Oh, my God. You and your auctions, man. That's your format.
It is going to be a hell of a race down the stretch. I mean,
anyone we know in that race? Sorry to interrupt you, but anyone we know in that race?
That is a good question. Let me double check. I definitely have people in that league I know.
Ooh, I stole a win from Dennis Santana. I didn't even know he got that.
I don't think there's anybody we know at least in that top 6. But it's been a very, very competitive, fun league. I'm really, really interested to see kind of how it plays out. My TGFBI team is in 1st place.
Very nice.
And I've never won a league in TGFBI.
I know, yeah. So you haven't even won your own contest.
So for me, it's like, oh, okay. And it's 39th overall. And I've been in first for quite a while now. I'm really looking at the overall and going, okay, is there a way that I can bust my way,
skyrocket up that board,
and try, and shout out to a lot of our friends in the industry who are doing really, really well in TGFBI, including There's Scott Genstad, who's 11th overall. Scott Chu, who's 13th overall. Chris Olsen is 12th overall.
Jordan
Anthony
Rosenblum.
Eaton, yeah.
7th.
Jordan Rosenblum is
Yancey?
in 7th. Yep. Even Nick Pollock was top
Nick,
15.
did he get hitters?
A while ago. I don't know where he is now. I'm
Who
trying
helped
to
him
find
draft
it.
hitters?
I don't know. I think
didn't
he
know
just
who they
didn't
were.
take a picture forever, and
Isn't that funny, by the way?
he's dropped to 44th.
Isn't that funny that the guy named Pitcher List, his strategy is to not draft pitchers, which makes sense, right? Because he's obviously trying to not overspend capital on them. But it is funny how that he's known for that.
His rotation is a bunch of guys. Only one of them was taken in the top 15 rounds.
Who's he got?
So Robbie Ray, Yu Darvish, Nestor Cortes, Lucas Giolito, Matthew Boyd, Chase Burns, Dustin May. Though I think that is probably, if I go back and look at week 1, I think he's probably, because I know he had Bubich, Jared Jones. So some bad luck. Justin Steele.
Man.
So he got hit with some pretty bad luck in terms of injuries. So the fact that he's even, in the top 50 of the overall has been pretty great for Nick.
Yeah, that's really impressive for Nick. All right, well, that'll get us set up for the weekend. Good luck to everyone still chasing. And again, we'll get back on a little bit more of some midweek stuff. And if there's things that can help people down the stretch, otherwise we're going to start turning our attention toward next year. I think that meatball draft's going to be going off soon. The first, 2026 draft for baseball only. I know you're in the midst of yours, so we'll have some 2026 stuff to start chewing on eventually, which is crazy. But we'll start doing maybe some kind of analysis of guys, that broke out this year or flopped and start dipping our toe a little bit into the future. But there's still titles to be won. So anything that people think can be helpful for them down the stretch, I'm happy to do. You know what I should do? I got to put this on my list. Put together a little list of potential call-ups because we're 2 weeks away from September call-ups. Now, you don't get as many as you did back in the day. It's just 2 players per team, 1 player per team, maybe even. I can't remember. But either way, there will be some good prospects called up that we'll want to talk about then, so we'll do that. Are you and Jason getting together as long as he doesn't get stuck out in the woods?
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get stuck in the woods this week, we should be getting together.
Fantastic. All right, Jay, great talking with you, and I'll talk to you next week.
Take it easy.
Peace.